LG, and welcome to the Week 5 episode of LGHL Access. I'm your host, Bryson66. Along with me, I've got three of my, favorite. I can't leave Master out of that one, but three very great co-hosts. I've got Rebel 2 Clutch, F5 Penguin, and Garrus. How are you guys doing tonight?
Good. Feels good to be back for another week. Glad F5's back, and hopefully show continues its flow.
Yeah, well, you're breaking it up with that stutter there. Come on now, let's get it together. Penguin, on to you, buddy. How you doing, sir?
Hey, Bryson, how's it going, man? It's good to be back. I'm glad to be here. I moved. If you haven't been able to tell, the people watching at home, this is a full studio again. It's the first time in 5 years that I've had my workspace back. That's what happens when you have kids. You lose your bedrooms. So I'm super excited. I moved 2.5 hours south to Fort Myers and just outside. And yeah, I am glad to be back. Glad to be back on with you guys. I love Access, and I'm happy to be part of the team.
Yeah, we took a little hiatus. Took the week break for Thanksgiving. We know all the issues that went down with the site. We will get to that in a minute. But it was nice to take a week off. Glad to be back. I was looking forward to this. Fi, how you doing, buddy?
Let's get this show over with so I can resume some heavy drinking after the crappy hockey week I had.
Yeah, let's not talk about the Oilers. They're miserable. I can assure you they did not make the top 10 power rankings. But yeah. Oh no, spoilers. Before we get into the statistic part of the show that everybody loves to watch, F5 is going to take it away for our first hot topic for the league here.
Hot topic for the league. Thank you, Bryson. I appreciate that very warm introduction. So there's a big thing going on. We're huge into the current gen Xbox One with all the things you can do with LG V5 expanding and growing. And as a media director, I kind of see the big picture of things. People are like, why don't you do more content? Well, because Tristan and I are planning stuff, Brody and I are planning stuff, and something we're planning is expanding our social media reach. So I've kind of taken on the role of handling some of the communications between the league and its members on social media. That's Facebook, Twitter, and of course our YouTube page, which I encourage all of you to subscribe to. Now, right now we have about 500 on average across all three of our platforms. So that's all well and good, but we want to make those numbers bigger. We want to get to 1,000 because we look at the website, we have 2,600 LGHL signups, and we have 700 PlayStation Network LGHL signups. So I want all of us to subscribe to our social media. You can watch more Access. You can watch all of the great content from the CHL. You can listen to some great podcasts, and you can check out some news. So to incentivize that, personally, I have contacted a couple of people. My show is sponsored by the Microsoft Store, and I've reached out to those contacts, and they have provided me with a couple of cool things. These two things that I'm holding in my hand right here. What I have on my left might be your right. I don't know how cameras work. 1-year Xbox Live subscription. What I have on my right here is a $60 gift card to the Windows Store, which is good for Xbox games. It's all on there. I also have an Office 365 subscription, Skype unlimited calls, and a bunch of game codes just sitting here. So what I'm going to do is, once we get to 1,000 on just one of our social media platforms, I'll give one of these away. When we get on 2, I'll give 2 more away. And we get on 1,000 on all 3, I'll give away this, plus I'll go and reach out and get more Xbox codes for everybody. We're going to give away some stuff. I want people to subscribe. It's going to be huge for V5 for LG, but we can't do it without your help and engagement, so please like and subscribe, and you can win cool stuff in the process of doing that. So that's my hot topic for today, and I will turn it back over to you, Bryson.
All right, sounds good. We've been wanting to introduce that news for some time now, and we are very happy. That's good stuff. Hopefully everyone get out there, subscribe. Could win yourselves a nice little present there from F5.
Could listen to him talk all day.
Thanks, man. I appreciate that.
Oh, you're welcome.
I worked really hard on this.
No, that's enough. One segment. But no, we're not going to go too easily because the next segment is going to involve you a little as well. The servers, as I just mentioned earlier, all the servers completely shut down. It was correct me if I'm wrong, a DOS attack, correct, Penguin?
Yeah, that's right, DDoS attack. So some asshat pinging a server over and over again. You knock at the door enough times, enough people knock at the door, and no one answers the door anymore. So that's what happened with the website.
Yeah, so went down over Thanksgiving. It was Wednesday night, so everyone was able to stop going on the site and spend some time with their families for Thanksgiving. It was an excellent time for us Americans. But yeah, unfortunately, site went down, and we put up a GoFundMe. Got a lot of good responses, especially shout out to Savard and for putting $1,000 up, which is very nice of him, and along with a couple anonymous users. I believe we said $800, $600, $500 with the other amounts. Extremely generous of those people, and great to see everybody came together to get this site back up. And glad to see Tris as well to bring everything back together. It was a very questionable couple days there.
You know, Trish said something interesting when he was posting the update, and I found it remarkable and concerning. And here's why. So he said that he was considering just hanging the thing up. And I remember talking to him. What was it? It went down on, what was it, Tuesday night?
I think
Wednesday?
It was
Monday or Tuesday.
Somewhere around there. And I talked to him.
because Wednesday games weren't played, so it was Tuesday.
Yeah.
Right. I remember talking to him Wednesday morning, and I'm kind of on dad duty right now. So I got my 5-month-old home with me. And I'm getting a message on Skype from him going, hey, do you have options for new hosts? I'm like, yeah, here's some options. We're talking about some stuff. And he's talking to Jeff and Mashley, too, which big shout out to them for helping set this up. Mashley and Jeff both amazing people. He said, you know, I'm looking for new options. I'm kind of worn out from all this and whatever. And then he posted in the thread that he was considering just not bringing the site back. And that, I'm so glad he got over that, because where would we be as a community without LG? We really wouldn't be doing this. I would never met Bryson. Like, that would be crazy, because you and I, Bryson, we talk all the time. It's some really good conversation we've had, and I could say that for a lot of people on the website. But there are people on the website that caused him to not want to do this anymore, and that sucks. So I'm glad that Jeff offered up his space and his own server temporarily to get this up and running. Without him, LG wouldn't be, and it remotivated Tris to continue on. So like, all of that is huge, and it really aggravates me from a perspective of someone who creates content for the community, that we put all this work in, and there are people that crap on it so much that it makes the founder of a website for over a decade want to go, hey, you know what? Someone else can deal with your problem. I'm done with this. So that's kind of frustrating.
Yeah, absolutely. It was relieving to see that all the people that chipped in, you know, from donations to, you know, like you said, Jeff and Mashley chipping in. It's good to see, and you know, like you said, you know, a lot of us really appreciate LG and what it has to offer, not only just from a league standpoint, but you know, all the people I met through there that. Hell, Garrus I met through LG, you know, or well from
VHL, the other. I can't call it that.
But you know, so there's a lot of interesting people I met, and a lot of I could say friends I met through LG, and it's it would have been a shame to see it go down, like you said. What would we do without it? I guess, unfortunately, is what I'd have to say about it. But yeah, awesome job from everybody to pull them together and helping to bring it back, and we're glad to see everything's running slowly, but eventually everything will be back to normal eventually. So good stuff from everybody helping out. Our third topic has to do with the game changers. Bring Fi in here and Garrus, and sure, Penguin, you could have a couple comments on it. This year, we mentioned earlier how Brody is going out this year along with Nuge, and is Tony going back out again this year?
I have no idea. I would imagine so. I guess they would add like a few more guys. Yeah.
Shaking his head, yes, I see it. So, you know, there were some ideas tossing around. I just want to bring some of them up. One of which is, and I feel like probably the most, obviously, you know, the servers, everyone has an issue. No one wants to play with delay. But the second biggest issue, I think, is player builds. Somebody brought up, you know, do we want to go back to old player builds, or do we want to stick with what we're doing? Fi, you being a skater, playing the game regularly, what do you think is best for the game?
I really liked the new format this year. Puts a lot more emphasis on button skill. Everybody's on a pretty even playing field. The only suggestion I would make regarding that would be, instead of putting the adjustments they make continually, it seems, on the player builds, strictly on EA. Maybe have some sort of voting system on the forums or input from our game changer guys on some of the tweaks and the nuances they continually make to those builds, instead of just, oh, hey, here's an update, and now the power forward can't deke for shit. It gets annoying trying to figure out, you get used to something and you're going to stick with that, and then next week it might be totally something different. So that would be my suggestion as far as player builds goes, is maybe a little bit more input on the nuances and the changes they make throughout the year.
100% completely agree with you that the way it's done this year is excellent. I like it personally. You don't listen to everybody going, "Ooh, well, I don't put anything into discipline. That don't matter. Oh, speed, nothing into speed. That don't matter." It was such a headache that it's so nice just to hear. I go with power forward because I like to hit. Oh, I go with sniper because I don't want to miss my shots. Oh, I go with grinder because I want to blow past everybody. Hey, it's simple, it's easy, and you don't have to worry about all the grinding for your 250 games for your Legend 3. You get on, you literally could buy the game and jump into a league game that night on the same playing field as everybody else, which is, in my opinion, the best way to go. I really hope we never see those player builds again. That's my personal opinion.
Personally, I mean, as a believer in builds, the infamous James Neal build that I had way back in NHL 13. Sorry to bring that up. But I kind of do like the new format, but if they did kind of like a hybrid, like you would have probably the main attributes of every, like the athleticism, like the main attributes of the athleticism, the defense, the offensive categories, but you'd have like just those main attributes, like a shot, backhand, probably, deking, hands and whatnot. Kind of like the attributes that they have for these player builds, but you can allocate the points into different categories. And, kind of have a hybrid, at least adjust your height or have like 3 of every height and whatnot. But I do like it. It makes it even in a way, but, I kind of like to see some change in height and weight at least, to be honest.
Yeah,
I think. Go ahead, Bryson. Go ahead.
Well, I think just height and weight, if it's not going to affect your strength or speed, it's irrelevant. To me, why not just let them build it the way they've been doing it? And I think it's fine the way it is. Go ahead, Penguin.
I think there's a middle ground here that a lot of people are missing, and people say I take the game way too seriously because I look at it from a business standpoint, but here we are. They made something that was simple, couldn't be screwed with and glitched, and then people still got mad. They made something that was allowed to be glitched, and you could kind of screw with the system, and people got mad. You're not going to please everybody. So the middle ground in between all of this, to make everybody relatively happy, aside from the trolls, is people know players, all right? So ESHL is the least played mode, but people want to try it out, and they want to have a good time with it. Well, you know who Stamkos is. You know who Ovechkin is. You know who Jonathan Taves is, like Patrick Kane. You know all these players. So you can have those builds in the game. You can be like, okay, there are going to be 3 sniper builds, 3 power forward builds, 3 of these builds, and those builds are going to be tested. Those builds are going to have transparent and accountable stats that make sense, that people can then look at and go, okay, this guy has a crazy sniper shot, but he's going to get leveled if he gets caught. Okay, this guy's really strong, not the best sniper, but can put on clappers on net. Okay, cool. And then you can kind of weigh that out and pick your build out of your class. I think if you have 3 options for each one, I can kind of adjust it up. I like two-way defensemen. I did not find offensive defensemen work for my style, but I feel like I need to be a little bit more stronger, and I want to play more defensive, but I don't want to play defensive D-man because then I lose my offensiveness. I want to be kind of an in-between player. Well, there's probably a build for that somewhere in a Victor Hedman. I want to kind of live in that realm. So those things, putting them into place would probably help, but the problem with that is what you mentioned. They change things, and they don't tell anybody. And I think that comes down from EA's PR team, their communications department, and their community manager not being transparent enough with the community. And that's why we're pissed off. If you told us that you're going to break the game, at least we could deal with it. And you could tell us ahead of time you're going to change something. But if you just change it and not post a patch note, which they've done twice since they've launched the game, that is going to upset people that care and play this game competitively. So without EA's side, you can't make the game better because they're not doing anything to help that case.
Yeah, it's like you just said. I wanted to say it after Fi was done speaking. Basically, to me, I feel like you're not going to please everybody. Somebody's going to be pissed. Somebody's going to be unhappy about the game. But at the end of the day, you can't deny the fact that this makes an even playing field the way the builds are set up. I completely agree with Fi, what you said in the beginning, that if they're going to fix something, at least tell us what you're doing, rather than you've played as, like, okay, power forward, like you said. You played as a power forward this whole time, and you just get on the game, and sometimes you don't even know that a patch came out, and you try and deke, and you're like, well, what the hell's going on? Well, those are the kind of things I think that they should be better at notifying the community.
Yeah, after at least what was said, just now, at least make the builds actually playable, like not third, fourth line NHLers. Like at least make them like better attribute-wise, so we can actually kind of do things and not skate like we're skating through mud. Like at least make these guys able to skate. Some builds are faster than the others. I mean, face-offs, yeah. But it's just more so make these build better for us to play.
I'm going to stop you on what you're trying to say, and I think they shouldn't make them any faster. Because you know why? People like, I'm not going to name anybody because that'll get me into serious trouble, but the people that think they can just dangle through and skate through everybody, no, forget it.
I know that, but
keep that shit low and make them pass the puck and play hockey the way it's meant to be played.
Yeah, but you gotta see, like, some players are faster than each other. Not everyone's gonna be skating around like.
But why would you want that? Why would you want someone else to be faster than you?
Because of height and weight, and like a guy who's 6'4", 220 is not gonna skate as fast as a guy who's 5'9", 180.
Right. Why would you want a disadvantage?
Because it's
the way you're gonna get disadvantaged is by the builds you pick, by your plays, by the way we play the game with LG. So. Okay, I'm going against, all right, let's take my lines, for example. I'm going against Playmaker, Main Event, and Golski. Well, Playmaker's a guy that's probably going to play as somebody that's going to try and dangle through you. Well, I'm going to make sure I'm going to put out the most defensive team I got and shut his ass down. You know what I mean? That's where we're getting at. You know, as far as playing club, that's irrelevant to the show and irrelevant to our side of the story here.
But, I mean, if you're going to have someone like Patrick Kane going up against someone like Ryan Suter, attribute-wise, it's going to be a lot more even, going up against each other. It's not going to be like Andrew McDonald going up against, John Tavares.
I think kind of what you're saying is that, so a guy that's putting the most points in the league, so let's take, my GM, for example, Greg.
Yeah.
He should have a Jonathan Toews build, and you should have a fourth liner build?
No, I'm just saying everyone should have these opportunities. I mean, like, I could play as Jonathan Tavares. Greg could play as Jonathan Tavares.
Why would everybody not play as John Tavares then? Why would it be a whole line of John Tavares if they're going to smoke?
Well, we would have these players that would have the same, like, you have, like, an Alexander Ovechkin, a Jonathan Tavares, and, like, a Matt Duchene or something like that. Like, Playmaker was getting at, like, have 3 different kinds of every build, but having better attributes make this equal for every play style. Like for Grinder, you'd have like a Paul Gallstad.
Builds. I'm not saying more builds isn't a bad idea.
Yeah.
But I'm definitely saying don't make it where you're going to have people that are going to try and one-on-one. That's not the kind of hockey that most of us want to play. Before we continue, Riley, we're going to go on and on forever. Fi, please give your intake. I know you've been wanting to speak up.
Well, what I was going to say, contrary to Sean's point, was in this game, you have your options on the type of player you want to play with, and then the distinction between everybody's ability is A, their understanding of hockey, B, their ability at the buttons, and who they play with. Overall, your idea of let's make everybody superstars and then everybody's on a even playing field. Well, like I said earlier, I feel like we're on an even playing field. I actually changed the way I play completely for this game because I like the overall statistics and abilities of the power forward. That is until they fucked it up. But I changed. I was never. I was forechecking, but I was never hitting. I was never trying to grind and punish people and intimidate them. And I've totally changed the way I play now because I have that ability with these evenly distributed builds. If I wanted to dangle through everybody, I would just select a playmaker and just walk through everybody. But I don't want to play that way. If you want to play that way, get good at the buttons and use the playmaker build.
Yeah, I mean, some of this kind of falls back on the gameplay as well, but I mean, it's something that needs to be talked about, and hopefully we can find a middle ground, as Penguin was saying.
Well,
I think one of the things that oh, you go ahead, Bryson. I'm
no, no,
sorry.
no, 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 you're fine, you're fine, you're fine.
I think one of the things that it all boils down to is, I say it a million times, it's down underneath me here, communicate with your consumers. You got to tell people what you're doing. You can't just make a decision and not base it off of anything that made actual sense, and then not have a reasoning for your decision, and then not have notes on what your decision was. There's a good example about all this, and I wrote it on my first ever article on F5Penguin.com. It's my open letter to EA and why I didn't buy NHL 15, and it's because of HUT. You look at HUT and it says, okay, you buy a pack and you get 4 rare players. What the hell is a rare player? Because to them, it's an 82 rated CHL player. That's not rare. Like, so your transparency, your accountability, and your communication sucks. So the last thing I want you to do, EA, as someone who has been snuffed at being a game changer twice now, I see you, Rammer, reading my posts, and I know you do, is you have a group of people that have a limited time set with a limited amount of resources trying to shove 100 pounds of shit into a 2.5 ounce bag. And the problem you get with that is they all have their own agendas, they want to do things, and it ends up breaking the game. So all these changes that we want to implement can't be implemented because they don't have the time to do it. So they implement their changes, and they put up a charade of, well, we're going to invite these people to come over and try to introduce change to the game. Well, Nuge is a great player. Tony Farrelly has a great vision. Brody has a great vision. But you can't utilize their skill sets because you're not giving them a chance to do that. So all these changes that we need to implement and all the things you guys are mentioning are crucial and needed, but then I'm afraid that they're going to make the change and then not tell people what's behind the change. And we're going to go back to what we had before, where does discipline really matter? Does agility really matter? Do you have to figure out that you have to take your hand off the button and hold B in front of the net for a tip-in? Is that really a thing? Is it not a thing? Like, too much question when we already have button skill, hockey sense, and the players you play with, 3 deciding factors on having a good team or a good playing experience. We don't need more reasons to have to learn the nuances of the game that we paid money for that shouldn't have to scientifically break down. That's all I'm saying.
What you're saying is, like what we all know, is our opinions are falling on deaf ears when it comes to EA.
I hate saying that, but it feels that way again, and it sucks that I say that because I wrote earlier this year that I thought they were coming back around with the Game Changers event and what we were seeing with the communication, and then they did it for 6 weeks and they stopped, and it was exactly what we said before, and that pisses me off because then they got our money again and they did the same exact thing, and as a gamer, we should hate that, but there's no other option. They have a monopoly on the NHL series. So what are we going to do? Not play the game we love? Of course not. And they know that, and they're taking advantage of it.
Yep, absolutely. And honestly, I don't think the game is as awful as everyone puts it out to be. I think you take the delay and the whole connection issue out, I think it's a game that we kind of get by on, but 100% agree with you. Is just the miscommunication, the transparency is a huge with the EA NHL series.
It's still our best, most realistic hockey game to date. I mean, we're gonna play it like Penguin said.
Yep. Yeah. So they have a monopoly on it, and that is what it is. But we're gonna end this topic because we could go probably for another 2 hours on this. Next up, we've got lineups of the week. Myself and Garrus will be bringing that to you folks in just a sec. Stick around. Back LG. Next up, we've got the lineup of the week. I'm going to take it away with the East. Then next up, you'll have Sean with the West. For this week's lineup of the week, at right wing, we've got the Buffalo Sabres GM, Theo Tendi, 29. He put in a very good week after a dismal start to his Sabres. 3-0, only 6 points, but some huge wins. Columbus, Islanders, and Penguins. There was another right wing with more points than him, but he put up some pretty crucial wins there. A +6, a 1 goal, 5 assists, no penalty minutes, 3 hits. So very, very solid week for Mr. Theo Tendi. Next up at center, hope I pronounced this right, from the Toronto Maple Leafs, Trevelyan. Is that right, Sean? Am I saying that right? Trevelyan?
I say it, Trevelyan. That's what I say.
Trevelyan. Okay, well, I'm not going to trust you on that. I'll go with Trevelyan.
Right.
3-0. 3 wins over Philadelphia, the Rangers, and the Blue Jackets. 11 points, plus 7, 3 goals, 8 assists, 6 PIMs, 1 power play goal. Very good week there for the Leafs center. And his line mate, left wing, OO, the MVP OO, also wins over Philadelphia Rangers and the Columbus Blue Jackets. He put up 16 points through 3 games, over 5 points per game, 12 goals, 4 assists, plus 8, 20 shots for 12 goals. That's a 60% shot percentage for you math nerds out there. 2 PIMs, 2 power play goals, 2 shorthanded goals. So a very productive week for MVP and Trevelyan. That line putting in some good work. For the defense, at right D, we've got Odie. Odie had a 3-0 week for the Sabres. Wins over Boston, Carolina, Philadelphia. Put up 5 points, all assists, a +4. No PIMs, and 4 hits. For lefty, we've got from the Habs, Montreal Canadiens. 3-0, that would be the man Dayman. Sorry, forgot to say his name first. 3-0, wins over Pittsburgh, New York Rangers, and the Islanders. Some very good wins over the Penguins and the Islanders. Putting up 4 points, all assists there, +3. 6 PIMs, a couple PIMs there for him. 4 hits. Very good defensive week there for Dayman. And last up, we've got the Tampa Bay Lightning goalie, King Natsu. He put in a 5-1 week with a 79.5 save percentage and a 1.5 GAA. A very solid week for Natsu. He also put in a shutout against the Islanders. Wins also came over the Rangers, Capitals, Penguins, and the Blue Jackets. His loss was to the Devils with Chislett and Gergs. Very good team, so not too bad of a loss there. So that's your East lineup. I am going to send this over now to Gareth to give us the West.
All right, since we're over the Eastern Conference now on the Rangers, so it makes it easier for us to do lines of the week since we're both in separate conferences. But starting off, a right wing from the Chicago Blackhawks, Saney, 14, went 3-0 in the week, had 14 points, and 7 of them were goals, and a +5. Decent shooting percentage. Moving on, we have our center from the Calgary Flames, LOL9. I'm not going to say all the X's. He did go 3-0 with a big 16 points. 5 of them were goals and a +11. Hats off to him. And left wing for the Calgary Flames, but not his line mate, we have Chives or Chivs01. Did have 10 points, and 6 of them were goals and a +4. Lefty from the Minnesota Wild. Sorry, Mark. We're going to give you a shout-out, though. It's Dave711. He did go 3-0 in the week, 8 points, +9. Moving on to right defense, we have Make Your Luck, 3 points, +6. And for goaltending, we have Mac. Did go 5-1 on the week, a 1.3, or 5-0-1, I'm sorry. 1.3 goals against, 82.6 save percentage. That's our line of the week. First week without Mark, but we're still going to give you a shout-out.
Yeah, official Mark had an overtime loss. Damn, couldn't make the cut.
Couldn't make the cut. Get good.
Right?
Yeah.
All right, so that's your lineups of the week. Next up, we've got the very popular, very controversial normally, Rebels Corner. Hold on to your cowboy hats. Next up here, we've got the Rebels Corner. Of course, the Rebels Corner can only be done by Rebel 2 Clutch, so I'm not going to waste any more time and give the man the FaceTime. Take it away, Fi.
All right, guys. I think I'm kind of developing an identity with this Rebel Corner. It looks like we're going through some of the lower tier teams, and I'm picking a lot of defensemen lately. I don't know what's wrong with me. But to start it off with the Western Conference, we're going to go ahead and name them the Colorado left defenseman, the Widowmaker. 2-1 on the week. No real impressive stats to speak of. But what really stood out to me was a 5-3 win over a really good Dallas team. They did have Pain Train in the net, and that guy's been lit up like a Christmas tree a few times this season. But we're going to go ahead and give them the nod. They played a really good line with Salty Milk Bags playing center, and they had Matt Murr on defense. So, even though he didn't have a great week, that was an impressive win when you ask me. And we're going to go ahead and give him the nod for Western Conference Rebel of the Week, Widowmaker for the Colorado Avalanche. Moving on, this is easily my favorite Rebel of the Week to date. The Eastern Conference, we're going to save him the best for last. Carolina left defenseman Foot gets the Rebel of the Week, gets traded from Edmonton to the Carolina Hurricanes, and guess who he's playing with? Fucking Big Al Clacken. This guy is backpacking so hard. He's traveling through Eastern Europe for 3 months during the summer. This son of a bitch is backpacking so hard. He went 2-1 on the week. Good wins against a streaking Toronto team and the top point getters in the conference, the Tampa Bay Lightning. He did have a close 3-1 loss against a Buffalo team that's been red hot lately. So, all in all, GG Foot. Edmonton loses the trade to Carolina. Your Rebel of the Week for the Eastern Conference, Foot. I said it. I had to do it.
I don't know if I can agree with losing the trade. Gary Garou is a presence that no one can ever compare to, but very good Rebels of the Week.
Could he backpack Big Al? Could he do that?
Ask Gary. Look at Sean's face. Gary could?
Gary Garou is the Chuck Norris of LG.
Here's the thing. Gary doesn't backpack. He's got a nice little pouch here for everyone just to jump right in and carries him. Gary Kangaroo is everyone.
Gary Kangaroo, yeah.
Gary Kangaroo. So there you go. Very good Rebels of the Week, Fi. We always like listening to it, and good stuff, man. Next up, we've got the top 10 power rankings. All of us will be involved. Maybe I'll get Penguin involved. He's been too quiet since the start of the show. We'll catch us around. All right, welcome back, guys. We are going to wrap this show up with the top 10 power rankings. Garrus, Fi, and myself are going to rotate off on the top 10 teams in that order, as I said. So, no time wasted. Let's go to Garrus at number 10.
Number 10, we do have the Carolina Hurricanes. They did go, I believe, 6-1 on the week, but they did lose against my New York Rangers, who had 1 win on the week, so I think that is pretty impressive. Other than that, they did beat Boston, they did beat Toronto, they beat Tampa Bay. They did lose against Buffalo, but Buffalo had a really good week. And they beat Montreal as well, and also Detroit. Carolina seems awfully inconsistent. I think the presence of Foot, although he's known to Gary Garou, they did pretty good week for Carolina with Foot.
What's your thought? We'll just end it there so we don't hurt you anymore. Yeah, Carolina is definitely a team that hasn't done well, but after the big trade I made for Gary Garou, it seems like Edmonton failed and Carolina succeeded, so makes me a little worried. Not really. I know I'm in safe hands with Mr. Garou. Number 9, Fi, let's hear who we got.
Number 9, we have a familiar face to the power rankings, the Detroit Red Wings. Not overly impressive this week. That's why they fall at number 9. But, with the turmoil and looks like a lot of turnover this week, a 5-4 week did get them on the top 10. Some key wins over the Rangers, the Pittsburgh Penguins, the Florida Panthers, which I think they've been reeling lately. And they did beat New Jersey, who had a hot start to this season. Tough losses against those Carolina Hurricanes we just mentioned, and the obviously pretty good New York Islanders. This team led by CJ and Jay, or I say Big Mac Jay, I believe is what you called him a couple weeks ago. You can expect to see them occasionally here on these top 10, making some noise in the Eastern Conference. They're sitting at 9th, just out of a playoff spot, but I know we have a few games to make up from last week. So they could easily jump back up into that playoff conversation. So overall, decent week, 5-4, Detroit Red Wings.
Next up, we've got number 8, a team we have, I believe, not mentioned yet this season. Surprisingly, they have had such a rough 3 weeks. J Rules and the Montreal Canadiens putting up a 6-3 week. Very good week for them. They're now in the playoff picture, sitting at number 8 in the East. Notable wins. Seems like a lot of teams were beating the Islanders this week, so that's one of them for them. Another big win over Pittsburgh, Washington, Columbus, the Rangers. I don't know if I said Philadelphia. Losses, they're all the three teams are honestly very good teams. New Jersey, Tampa Bay, and Carolina. So based on where they were the first 3 weeks, I have to say Jay's definitely turned his team around and looks like he's back into that unknown area of what people dare not speak of a repeat of a cup. I don't want to say it. I know it's not very likely to happen too often, but maybe we could see Jay doing that now with how he has his team turned around.
Side note.
Yes.
Your ass got beat, Jay. On Faceoffs, I'd like to call you out right now. I don't care if it's post-play or not. Your ass got beat.
Wow. I think you need to take it down a notch. You are on the Rangers, so. Next up, Sean, let's hear what we got at number 7.
All right, number 7, we have the Minnesota Wild. They did beat the infamous Edmonton Oilers. They did beat LA in overtime, and they also did beat Dallas. They got smacked down by Calgary, but they did beat Chicago. I think it was, 7-1 and 2, 7-2 and 1 on the week, whatever. Or 6-2 1 or whatever. But yeah, Minnesota's been top 10 recently, and I think they're going to stay. I mean, that team is well put together. As far as the powerhouse in the West, they could surprise some people, but another good week by Minnesota. Glad to see them up there.
Yep, Minnesota is definitely doing well. 2 consecutive weeks. They dropped a little bit in the rankings from last week, but they're still there and they're still running a very solid ship. Fine, number 6. Who do we got?
At number 6, they were ranked number 8 the last show we had. The Toronto Maple Leafs. Very impressive week, 7-2. These guys seem to have gotten it figured out. I'll tell you one thing that really interests me was the de-pairing of Mafia Man and Lazy Pedestrian. I don't know, some of you guys remember, they were undefeated through quite a few weeks when they played for those Washington Capitals teams. So it's good to see that Plymmy got that D pairing back together, and it looks like they're kicking ass again. I believe they're 8-3 on the season, or something relatively close to that. Like I said, 7-2 week for those guys. Pretty good win over Washington. They did lose to, once again, those Carolina Hurricanes, led by Foot X3. They did beat a Columbus team that is highly improved. They did beat the Islanders. Like you said, they've been losing a couple of games there lately, but it's still a great team to get a W on. And they creamed up on the Philadelphia Flyers 10-4. So great week for these guys. 7-2. I believe that's a couple of really big win streaks for them this season. Yeah, 6-3, 7-2, a couple of weeks. So they look to be formidable in these upcoming weeks. So maybe start throwing some first lines at those guys. Jeez.
That was not fun.
I was going to say, Penguin just turned on his mic. He's got to say something.
0 amounts of fun. 0. No fun. No fun zone. You were doing it wrong.
I've been to plenty of Flyers games. There's no fun there. I don't know why they call it Philadelphia. But Tampa Bay, yeah, man. Sweet Lou, another team that doesn't surprise us, is here, 7-2. I'm sorry, I am skipping ahead. Toronto, yes, very surprising week. I apologize for my miscommunication there.
GG.
Toronto, yeah, very good week. Last week, 8, bumped up 2 spots. A team that we expected to do middle pack, but definitely a very good week for them. I see them to improve. Now I'm going to tell you number 5, Tampa Bay, a team that we're not surprised about with Sweet Lou. No, really very good week for Sweet Lou and the Lightning. They went 7-2, notable wins over Columbus, Pittsburgh, Washington, Rangers, Canadiens, Islanders. I don't know if the Islanders won a game this week, and the Rangers. Tough losses to, man, I feel like I'm getting tired of saying this team, Carolina Hurricanes and the New Jersey Devils. Very good week for Tampa Bay. Batman, I believe, is leading the league in points, or he's second. He is second with 61 behind MVP. So Batman keeps shutting all those haters up. He's doing work week to week and putting his Lightning atop of the West now, the East, I'm sorry, with 61 points. 9 points behind LA for the President's race here as we narrow down the past midway season. Next up, number 4, Garris.
Number 4, we have the New Jersey Devils. I think they went 7-2 on the week. Beat Ottawa, Boston, Montreal, Washington, Tampa, and Ottawa again. They did lose to Detroit and Buffalo, but I take those losses, those two teams. New Jersey's kind of been up and down for most of the season, but things could be on the upswing for them.
Yeah, Jersey is not really surprised. Gergs, Travi, Chislett, Haxby. That's going to be a tough team to beat, but definitely LA is a solid team. Last week at first, they bumped down to 3. I am sorry. I am fucking everything up. You were on the Devils. Oh my god. I'm so sorry. I'm losing my track tonight, guys. Yeah, Devils are good. Bye. Go to number 3.
I'm now taking over the host of the show. Welcome to LGHL Access. I'm your host for the evening. We have a bunch of things coming up later on. We have power rankings coming up soon. But first, we're getting rid of Bryson. He's fired as owner. Media access removed. GG's all around. Everyone gave Bryson a round of applause for his time here at Access. We appreciate it. Thank you very much.
Might as well give Nico's Pizza, the owner of the Edmonton Oilers.
Right. Yeah, very good week for the Devils. Number 3, let's hear it.
Well, I guess I'll talk about this team. It's kind of funny. I talk about them just about every week, so I'm gonna keep it really short. As Bryson alluded to, the LA Kings at number 3. They were 1 the last show we had. What can I say that hasn't already been said? It's the LA Kings. They're gonna be there. Get ready for them. Come playoff time, you're not going to be able to do anything about it. I really don't want to talk about these guys anymore, so I'm going to pass it off.
We can't say anything more that has been said already.
Can't suck them off for too long. Like past shows.
If that's your kind of thing, Sean, then so be it, man.
We're
going to move on to number 2 here. A team that, like I said, just like Montreal, had a very, very miserable start, and a team that honestly made me feel that the conferences were split up evenly. But now that they're back in the race and they're starting to really dominate, a solid 9-0 week for the Buffalo Sabres, Stamkos and Fiotendi. Great week for them. Here's all their wins. They beat the Flyers, Blue Jackets, big win over the Devils, big win over the Islanders, big win over Foot's Carolina Hurricanes. Beat the Rangers, Flyers, big win over the Penguins, and then they finished the week off with a 2-0 win over the Bruins. This is a team that hasn't been ranked yet on our power rankings. They just haven't done very well. 9-0 week, that's a good way to get back into the playoff race. They are sitting 4th. They've got a nice 8-point lead into the playoff race, so hopefully they keep it up and they'll stay in there for sure. That's a team that I thought was going to be dominant from the start with the management team that they had. Obviously, they're starting to figure things out here, and very good week for the Sabres. Let's finish it up with number 1, Garris. Who do we got?
Number 1, we do have the Calgary Flames. They did beat Winnipeg twice in the week, early in the week. Nashville, Vancouver, those are expected. Both teams kind of are on the lower end of the league. They had a surprising win over the LA Kings in overtime, I believe. They beat San Jose, put a whoop down on Minnesota 12-1. To beat my former team, the Arizona Coyotes, 5-3, and finish off the week against the Anaheim Ducks with a 1-0 victory. Pretty much this team's been top 10 pretty much almost every week in a really good division, that I was formerly a part of. It's just, we don't plan on seeing them leave anytime soon.
Yeah, that Calgary's definitely a team that from the start, out of the gate, they've been solid. They've got all 3 lines that can produce goals and have very good offenses. Besides Chips, he's terrible. We don't need to talk about him.
Fuck Chives.
Chives, yeah. Hold on, what did we say again? Pizza topping.
Pizza toppings.
Chives, yes.
Goldski's favorite pizza topping.
Goldski's nothing short of funny moments. But that's it for our power rankings. I am greatly sorry for my 2 mess-ups. Hopefully... I know. I'm going to hear it from my dad here after the show.
You had 1 job.
1 job, just to say everything except like 10%, which is you guys. No, really, I'm sorry. That's my fault, guys. I don't know what I lost my track. But, yeah, good segment, guys. Great. Remember to subscribe. Penguin will be giving out those neat little gifts, so don't forget.
And also donate.
Donations, obviously. What are our 3? It's YouTube, Twitter, and
Facebook.
All right.
Easy.
Just want to make sure I got them all. I didn't want to forget. I forgot a lot of them.
$60 gift code. Get whatever game you want for the Xbox One, or if you want, you can get Xbox Live. I mean, it's all here. It's right here in this box. I just need you guys to subscribe, and I'll give away all these cool things. I just want people to subscribe. 1,000 is not unreasonable considering we have 15,000 members on the website. So.
Yep. Take 5 minutes out of your day, guys. Sign up. Subscribe to all of them. Could be walking away with one of those nice little gift cards.
Even make multiple Facebook accounts.
No, let's not do that. That's not even funny.
When I pick
make
the
one
winner,
for your
it has to be a
tattoo,
real
John.
account.
Yeah, it has to be a real account. Exactly. All right. That's it for the show, guys. We thank you all for watching. We will be back next week, of course. I want to thank you, Phi, Penguin, and thank you, Garrus, for all your help, guys.
Jerk.
It was a pleasure, and we'll hopefully see you all next week.